There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.
Hello and welcome to this Valley News Now weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. I'm meteorologist Lisa Green with a look at what we can expect for this week ahead. So it's been very mild. We've been warming up through the weekend. Today it's very warm for February standards out there. And we get to kind of keep this rolling as we head into this week. So it's a warm week. We've got some warm temperatures coming our way and some shots at some precip too. Today may be one of those days where we see a little bit, but doesn't look all that promising for that chance for precipitation here for today. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about what we're seeing and get you ready for this week ahead. So here's a look outside at our Red River Valley Fairgrounds sky cam. You can see that we've got gray skies overhead. And one other thing to note, look at all that exposed ground too. We are seeing some of that snow melting over the course of time. We'll see more of that happen, especially in these warmer pockets. These interchanges tend to see a lot of melting initially, the edges of snowpacks, that kind of thing. So that's going to continue to be a factor for today as our temperatures continue to rise. But yes, it is a bit gray out there. We're seeing some blue peek through in some spots, but a lot of us experiencing that gray. So road conditions, not much of a problem across much of the valley. We're looking at most areas in the green. And just a reminder, green doesn't mean that it's free and clear summer roads. It just means that for the season, we're doing okay. And the northeastern part of North Dakota area, that is where we see this blue here, that's where frost is being reported in that northeastern part of the state, especially in Walsh County there and surrounding areas, seeing some of that area with frost. Surrounding regions from there's some wet conditions being reported, not necessarily showing here on this map because wet isn't as hazardous as the patchy snow or ice, but still something to keep in mind in and around Grafton, Park River, Minto area, and then even into parts of southern parts of the Cavalier County or Pembina County area, excuse me. So Drayton back over toward Hoople, seeing some patchy areas of frost and surrounding region. And then also over to Minnesota, some areas where there's some ice going on in those locations. Looks like we've got some areas where we've had a little bit of ice on the roads up toward the Pennington and Red Lake County area. And I'm just looking at a report from the DOT. It looks like in the Frazee area, there's a report along Highway 10 near Frazee of animals on the roadway. So if you're traveling in that direction, watch out there. Doesn't specify what type of animal. So again, just kind of keeping an eye on road conditions. You can always check this map, each map from each state, right on valleynewslive.com and our VNL weather app. Okay, so let's take a look at our radar and satellite map. It looks awfully impressive here out to the west. You can see some green, some blue, and as we zoom out a little bit more, you can see over toward Bismarck, Dickinson area. Here's the deal. It's been, one thing about the radar is it's detecting moisture aloft. So it's detecting what's in the clouds. And so that is what we're seeing there. There's some moisture in the clouds, but not a lot of this has been reaching the ground. It's running into a drier layer of air, so it's drying up before it does so. I am seeing a report of some light snow and fog, late snow fog / mist being reported in the Hettinger area out in western North Dakota. So there are some instances where we're seeing a little bit of this impacting parts of the region. But in general, we are looking at most of this not reaching the surface, at least at the moment. Could that change? Yes. So that is something to keep in mind that, if you're going to be traveling at all today, you may run into some areas of moisture out there. I'm actually going to switch to our DOT cam and just kind of look around some of these areas. So I've already got our DOT map for North Dakota pulled up with some cameras. And again, this area here, northeastern North Dakota, the light blue means, we'll pull the legend back up. Light blue means frost or scattered frost. And then there are some areas where wet roads are being reported in the deeper blue here. So wet slush along Highway 2, Devil's Lake, and then just basically much of northeastern North Dakota. But I was looking out west, there looks like there's some moisture on the camera in the Amadon area, and that's right here in southwestern parts of North Dakota. So it looks like there is some of that moisture reaching the ground in those areas. I can actually turn on the radar layer on this page. So, you know, kind of matching up there. Looks like there's some, it's hard to tell sometimes. It's almost better sometimes in the nighttime to see some of these raindrops or snowflakes flying by. Just kind of keeping an eye. Like this looks like a dirty camera, though there may be a little moisture on there. It's hard to tell. Road surface looks slightly on the wet side. And then there's some warning here on I-94. There's a warning. So pothole repairing going on. So just a heads up about that. So again, let's take a look at some of our cameras here in the valley where we've got some radar overlaying it. This is in the Millerton area, south of Jamestown. And, you know, there might be some moisture on the road. The camera, I can't tell if that's dirt or raindrops. And then we'll zoom in a little bit more here. Jamestown area. That's hard to tell. The road looks fairly dry, but again, tough to tell. And this is Gackle. Let's look west. Not really seeing a lot. Some dark clouds. So yeah, so you know, you could always track this too by going to our website, both in North Dakota and Minnesota. Keep an eye on things. So again, there is that possibility of seeing precip, but you know, a lot of it isn't giving us ground truth, which means that it's reaching the ground. So that is something to keep in mind as you're traveling or out and about today, that we could run into some sprinkles or some flurries or flakes as well. Some frosty roads or some wet roads that you may encounter today. But this is not a major round of active weather. So let's zoom in just a little bit more again. You can see I-94. There's some green. Green means rain. And blue means snow. So a little bit of a mix trying to happen here overall. And here's a look at our temperatures. We're already close to 40 in Valley City and in Jamestown. We're at 39. Fargo's at 37. So that's our forecast high for today, and it's only 11 o'clock. So chances are we're going to surpass that potentially, unless we see that northwesterly wind really start to kick in and we start to stop the temperature rise. But there's a decent shot at seeing a little bit higher temperature. And Sisseton's at 43, where everybody's above freezing now. So that's good for, you know, melting some of the ice that might be on roads and sidewalks, but, you know, might be a little slushy, might be a little slick. We might have some areas where you've got some ponding going on some of the roads, or a combo of ice and melting happening. So take it easy with these kind of melting temperatures near the freezing mark. Wind is mainly out of the west, and it's in the teens. We've got one gust in Baudette to 30 miles per hour. Here's our hour-by-hour planner. So again, that chance for some precip is there through the afternoon. We could see a few more areas of either rain or snow, be very light, sprinkles to some flakes, some flurries. And this is 3 p.m. Temperatures, again, in those mid-30s to some low 40s across the valley. And so moving on, and by the way, our average high is 21 for Fargo for today's date, so running way above that. And then moving on into this evening, you can see that wind turns northwesterly, picks up a little bit. We'll have some gusts 20 plus miles per hour. And we'll also be watching out for a couple of, you know, clusters or isolated pockets of some light snow with that colder air filtering it. Most of that stays north of the border, north of us, but I can't rule it out in a couple of locations heading into late tonight. And now I'm pausing the clock at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Could still have a few of those in northwest parts of Minnesota with some winds, again, gusting into that 20 to 25 mile per hour range into the course of the day on Tuesday. I'm just going to zip ahead through Tuesday. You can see temperatures. This is 4 p.m. Not as warm as today in a lot of areas, but this is still, right around average or above average. So small step back with that wind coming in out of the northwest. Next couple of days, we can take a look again at Tuesday, 20s to some low 30s. Jamestown may be a little warmer. And then we start kind of inching back up on Wednesday with some partly cloudy skies, temperatures into the low 30s, and perhaps again warmer over by Jamestown. And then our next chance for precip comes overnight Wednesday into early Thursday. So this one, not a great shot. And in addition to that, we're looking at that possibility being more to our very southern end of our viewing area. So we're going to move ahead in time. And you can see some inklings of something going on down by Watertown Wednesday night and into early Thursday. And this may lift far enough north to impact places like Sisseton, Wheaton initially, and perhaps even farther north from there toward Fergus Falls and Wahpeton. But you can see how this model is more concentrated toward Watertown and the central southern Minnesota area here heading into Thursday. So driving down I-29, driving down I-94 toward Minneapolis and beyond, that's when you may run into some snow. So this is going to be right on the edge of our viewing area. And both of our longer range models are kind of depicting that this largely misses us, but it may brush by some of our southern viewing area. Still, if you've got plans to travel or be out and about on Thursday, check back with us for forecast updates on that next system. And then it clears away. And we're looking at some pretty good temperatures coming up here in the forecast. Average high again, 21. If you wanted to keep the snow around for maybe some skiing or snowmobiling, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, this isn't as conducive to that. More comfortable to be outside, but not as conducive to those winter sports. So looking at, high 37 degrees today in Fargo, perhaps a little bit warmer. And then looking at Tuesday, Wednesday being closer to freezing. So again, concern about, some of those areas where we have melting, freezing back up if they're not treated. And then Thursday's that chance for some precip more in the south. And then Friday, and heading into your Valentine's Day weekend, Valentine's Day on Saturday, temperatures look great. Some upper 30s, and great again from the standpoint of being comfortable to be outside and being mild for February. Now, I know that we've got a lot of, again, winter folks who want to keep the colder temperatures around and keep the snowpack in place, and that's just not going to happen here for this next week. But it does look better for travel and, again, just being outside in general. And partly cloudy, it's looking like both days. So your Valentine's Day looks pretty good. Now, heading into next week, more active, watching out for some chances for, more powerful systems. The models are not in great agreement right now, so nothing really to hammer home just yet, but just wanted to let you know that it's kind of showing up, some, hints at some more active weather showing up into next week. And in general, kind of keeping mild, but climatology also signaling some colder weather for that second part toward the end of the month as well that we're keeping an eye on too. And once it looks like it's a little more likely, we'll be talking more about that as well. So again, some warm weather for this week. We've got lots of melting going on. It's a good week to, get out there and try to chip away at some of that built up ice on your driveways and sidewalks. You're going to want to watch out for a lot of road spray going on and getting splashed by those cars going through the puddles from the melt happening here this week. And it is a little gray today, so it is going to be more on the cloudy side. I do think we have better chances of seeing some sunshine as we head further into this week. Obviously Thursday with that system moving through in the Southern Valley, more clouds returning then. But Tuesday and heading into Wednesday, seeing more and more sun coming up in the forecast. And again, mild, more comfortable to be outside. That Arctic air being kept at bay for now. We'll see if that holds as we head further into the month of February. Okay, that's it for today. Again, enjoy the milder temperatures, more comfortable temperatures to be outside. And don't be surprised if you see a raindrop on your windshield today or even a flake or flurry as we head into tonight and that colder air starts to move in. And when I say colder, I mean relatively speaking. We go from 37 today to 32 tomorrow, so about a 5-degree drop coming up here in the forecast for tomorrow. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning at around this time to give you another update on how things are looking. And of course, more updates throughout the day today right here on Valley News Now, Facebook Live, and on our news channels as well. This has been your weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. Hope you have a great day.
There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.